Hey, how's it going everyone? It's me, it's Jinsula. I hope you're having a good day and welcome to today's Pokemon Go discussion video. Alright, so it's finally here. We are about to get the global Go Tour event and I'm really excited about this. I think there's a lot of things to look forward to and I wanted to talk about them here. Alright, so what are some of the things that are coming to the Go Tour event? Well, first and foremost, we're going to have ourselves a lot of raiding. Niantic recently lifted the daily limit to the amount of remote raid passes you can do, so even if you do not live in a big community, you could still go out and enjoy this event. I think that was a good move on Niantic's part. They are opening the doors for pretty much everyone to still experience a good Go Tour event. Of course, for people who live in rural areas or small population areas, and also people who have disabilities, they're not going to have the absolute best experience, right? Because you will need to go to a very populated area to get the most out of this event. I really wish Niantic would at least lower the cost of remote raid passes because that's going to be the core highlight of this weekend. Some of the best Pokemon that you can get are going to be featured in raids. It's definitely going to be heavy on that aspect of the gameplay, and I really do think that if you have yourself a lot of raid passes that you've had saved up, this is the weekend where you will want to spend as many of them as possible. I mean, aside from Origin Form Dialga and Origin Form Palkia, which are going to be making their global debuts this weekend, there are a lot of meta-relevant legendaries within the Sinnoh region. Just to name a few, there is Cresselia, which is really good for the Go Battle League, as well as Pokemon like, well, regular form Dialga, which is a phenomenal Pokemon for the Master League. And when it comes to raiding, there's very powerful Pokemon within the mix, so this is definitely a weekend where you will want to raid as much as you possibly can. And I'm not just talking about legendaries, there's also very meta-relevant Pokemon that aren't legendaries and will be out in the wild. Some of the habitat spawns like Bagon are going to be high priority, and I really do think that if you know what Pokemon you need to go after, you're going to have yourself a very effective Go Tour weekend. A user on the Sylph Road subreddit actually made some infographics that highlight some of the Pokemon you should focus on during this weekend. If you're all about PvE content, you will want to get Origin Form Palkia as well as Origin Form Dialga. You will also want to pick up Roserades for those grass and poison type attacks. And then Lucario, which you could get from hatching eggs, is going to be really good as a fighting type. And then of course there's Mamoswine, which is something that you can actually get a lot of this weekend. That is one of the best, if not the best ice type in the game, so you do not want to miss out on that. And then we got regular Palkia, which is going to be really good for raid battles as a dragon type attacker. And the Hisuian Pokemon Overquill is going to be a very powerful poison type attacker. And then of course we got Garchomp, which is one of the best pseudo legendaries in the game. You will not want to miss out on that, as well as Rhyperior, which is probably one of the best ground types in the game that's not Groudon. And then of course we got one of the best rock type attackers in the game, which is Rampardos. And then you could also evolve Electabuzz into Electivire this weekend for a very powerful electric type Pokemon. Another Pokemon you should focus in on is of course Gardevoir and Staraptor, and then Togekiss is a really powerful Pokemon as well, and then there's regular Dialga for that dragon type damage, and you will also want to not miss out on Samurott, Magnezone, Empoleon, Honchkrow, Toxicroak, Hisuian Decidueye, as well as Luxray. Now in terms of PvP, these are the Pokemon you should focus in on. There is Lickitung, Mantine, Bastiodon, Gligar, Umbreon, Gliscor, Abomasnow, Munchlax, Frostlass, Toxicroak, Snorlax, Stuntank, Drapion, Sylveon, Togekiss, both regular and Origin Form Palkia, as well as Origin Form and regular form Dialga, Mamoswine, Garchomp, as well as Rhyperior. All these Pokemon are incredibly powerful in various leagues of the Go Battle League, so if you want to bolster your PvP teams, this is going to be a key weekend for you to pick up some very powerful Pokemon for the Go Battle League. Also, don't forget that with these Go Tour events, there usually is a special research as well as a bunch of collection challenges, as well as rotating habitats every hour. Make sure you fully utilize every single one of these hours, and if you plan to take any breaks for lunch or anything like that, make sure you do it during a habitat where you do not necessarily need any of the Pokemon. But I do suggest that for at least the first 4 hours of this event, you focus in on catching as many Pokemon as you possibly can, completing those catch challenges so that you do not have to worry about them for the rest of the day. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of powerful Pokemon within each of the habitats, so you will want to make sure you're keeping an eye out for every single Pokemon that you would possibly need. It really depends on what kind of gameplay you focus on mostly when you play Pokemon Go. If you're all about raiding, then make sure you focus in on the Pokemon that I mentioned regarding PvE. But if you're all about PvP, there's going to be a lot of Pokemon for you to catch. And make sure you're checking all the IVs because some of them might actually be rank 1 or close to rank 1 IVs for the Go Battle League. Because there's constant event rotations, some of these Pokemon don't often appear in Pokemon Go, so this could be your one chance to get some of these Pokemon for a long time, so you do not want to miss out on that opportunity. But yeah, overall, I think the Go Tour event is going to be really good. There's a lot of things that Niantic has done right when it comes to global in-person events. It's just a shame that they don't seem to do anything regarding shiny rates for the global player base, but I really am still hopeful that it's going to be a solid event. There's definitely a lot of Sinnoh Pokemon that are really strong that I still need to get a bunch of, so there's going to be a lot of reasons for me to play really hard, even if the shiny rate is not going to be boosted for a majority of the Pokemon that you'll see on screen. I know a lot of players out there really only care about shinies, but from a gameplay point of view, you do need to have powerful Pokemon, and the Sinnoh region is home to a lot of them. So I really do hope you go out and play as much as you can this weekend, and make sure you fully utilize every opportunity to raid as much as you can, so that you can walk out with some very powerful and very rare legendary Pokemon. Also, don't forget that Origin Form Dialga and Origin Form Palkia are going to be making their global debut during this event, and both of those Pokemon are incredibly gameplay relevant. If not for the Master League, they're just going to be really useful considering they have these new abilities, Roar of Time and Spatial Rend. These abilities are going to enhance your gameplay at the cost of Stardust and candies, but if you have a lot of surplus of either of those, this might actually be beneficial for you to pick up these moves. So yeah, it's going to be a stacked weekend. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to try to play in a high population area, but we'll just have to wait and see. It really depends on how the weather is going to be. Fortunately, this weekend is looking to be really sunny and clear. So yeah, I think it's going to be a fun weekend. I'm definitely looking forward to it. But I would love to know your thoughts. What are you thinking regarding the Global Go Tour event? Is there a reason for you to feel disappointed, or are you excited for this event? Definitely share why in the comments down below, and let's have a great discussion. And thank you so much for making it to this point in the video. If you ended up enjoying it, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if it's your first time here. And don't forget that little bell so you can stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. And I want to give a shout out to every single patron on my Patreon. You all make this channel content possible. If you want to support the Count Jinsula YouTube channel, the easiest way for you to do so is to click on the links in the description below. That will take you to my Patreon or my merch store, and you could browse and become a supporter of my channel. And if you become a Patreon member, you get a permanent spot on my in-game friends list. So if you want to interact with me within Pokemon Go, like with remote raids or the friendship system, then make sure you go and check out my Patreon. Also, if you want to support my channel in a different way, you could always do so by following me on social media. My handle is @CountJinsula, and I'm on the platforms that you see on screen. And yeah, with that said, that's going to be it. I'm Count Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, and have a good Go Tour weekend, and I'll catch you all later.